Welcome to Champ Chat. I'm Audrey Lewis.
And I'm Nina Martinez. Today, we'll bring you the important stories happening around the world. But first, the headlines.
This past week, Champlain College celebrated the inauguration of its new president, Alex Hernandez. Hernandez has promised to bring new education models and programs to the college, expanding Champlain's personalized learning structures. Champlain's Board of Trustees say they are confident that Hernandez will lead Champlain through the many years ahead and look forward to his new ideas on shaping the future of higher education.
Also, COVID-19 cases are expected to rise due to winter being just around the corner. According to healthvermont.gov, new COVID-19 admissions are rising with more than 10 out of every 100,000 Vermonters testing positive. COVID testing is as easy as ever. If you think you have symptoms, you can schedule a test online at the Champlain Health Center in Whiting Hall. If you're eligible for a vaccine, you can go to any of your local pharmacies like Rite Aid or CVS.
And finally, Champlain Weekend welcomed students, parents, and alumni alike to enjoy a few days of events and good eats. Events like scavenger hunts, trivia, pumpkin carving, movies, and even a few spooky Halloween-themed events are all accessible to anyone who attends. A variety of food trucks were available, as well as on-campus dining for each meal of the day. Additionally, informational talks were available, like Managing the Monkey Mind, a seminar that discusses anxiety and stress and how to manage it daily. Many events like Champlain Weekend are hosted regularly. To find out more, go to view.champlain.edu/events.
But you're not just here for headlines. You're here for the important topics. First up, an overview of Vermont's midterm election candidates and their policies. Here's Champ Chat, Lilis Sakaniwa with more.
Votes were cast yesterday for the 2022 midterm elections. For the governor, Senate, lieutenant governor, and House of Representatives, these were the candidates on the ballot. For the gubernatorial race, Brenda Siegel represents the Democratic and Progressive Party. Some of her policies include supporting the constitutional amendment to reproductive rights and overdose prevention sites.
And there is, in other countries, we've used things like mobile units where we bring the harm reduction centers to the communities where it's happening.
The incumbent, Phil Scott, is running for his fourth term. His policy includes addressing the opioid crisis. However, his views on how to do so are different.
I don't believe using government injection sites is the answer for Vermont.
In the Senate race, Democrat Peter Welch is vying for the seat. Welch has been in the U.S. House of Representatives since 2007, and one of his policies focuses on fighting climate change.
There's got to be governmental policy that sets in motion the market dynamics that can help the transition from fossil fuels to clean energy affordable for Vermonters and for Americans.
Representing the Republican ticket is Gerald Malloy. He supports the U.S.'s continued aid to Ukraine throughout the war with Russia.
And I do support continuing to provide military equipment to Ukraine.
And in the race for lieutenant governor, David Zuckerman represents the Democratic Party. Zuckerman advocates for accessibility to affordable health care and childcare. Representing the Republican Party is Joe Benning. He also supports a constitutional amendment to protect reproductive rights, but believes that Vermont's tax dollars shouldn't go towards things like safe injection sites. And for the House of Representatives, Becca Balint is the chosen Democratic candidate. Balint was elected to the Vermont Senate in 2014 and advocates for Medicare for all, along with the constitutional right to reproductive rights. Representing the Republicans is Liam Madden. He is a Marine Corps veteran who stands for a national health care program and free COVID vaccines and testing.
Now that we know the candidates, let's dive deeper into the issues. Coming up, 5 states, including Vermont, vote on lasting slavery laws that will remain in writing despite its overturn on a federal level. More on that after the break.
Yo, camping buddy. Okay, you guys ready?
Dude, I thought you were driving.
I thought you were driving.
Oh, I never said I was driving.
I definitely can't drive.
Okay.
If you're high, just don't drive. It's illegal everywhere. If you feel different, you drive different.
We do a lot of hard labor. A lot of it is driven by technology. We were one of the very first in our area to get vaccinated. We trust experts in their field. We're 5th generation farmers providing the safest, most economical food because of science. What if we're in a farm accident? There is no room. All the hospital resources are going towards COVID. The vaccine is a tool in our toolkit of how we succeed as a family or as a business. When the sun's setting, we did a good day's work and we can face tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckle tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand, trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Welcome back to Champ Chat. I'm Audrey Lewis.
And I'm Union Martinez. We now switch over to some constitutional issues. There are 2 amendments up for vote this week. Proposal 2 is all about slavery. One issue that voters should be aware of is that 5 states are currently voting on slavery, abolishing slavery. While slavery ended in 1865 on the federal level, it was still part of some states' constitutions. Vermont prides itself on the fact that it was the first state to ban slavery in 1777. But was it really? The current constitution states people weren't allowed to have slaves over the age of 21, but younger than that was legal. Voting yes on this means removing this language.
Another constitutional issue on the docket is the state of reproductive rights. We have Nick Kokinas out on the streets talking with the community about their opinions of the recent overturning of Roe v. Wade.
And the Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade. They have eliminated the constitutional right to an abortion. And at first glance, this opinion is very similar to that draft opinion that we saw leaked just about a month and a half ago at the beginning of May.
The voting decision to overturn Roe v. Wade was 5-4. People immediately began protesting after the ruling was made by the Supreme Court. With the midterm elections around the corner, we wanted to know how Champlain students felt about the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
I don't feel it's right. I think that people should have the choice to choose what they want to do with their lives, and that's just one of those things.
I think it's a shame. I think we should value women's bodies, and I think that they should be able to do whatever they want.
I think it's a really big disservice to women because it takes away a lot of their rights, a lot of their liberties.
We caught up with Vermont State Senator Keisha Rahm from the Democratic Party and asked for her thoughts on this ruling.
Over 2/3 of Americans believe that abortion should be safe, legal, and available, particularly up to viability. And they are relying on tactics of misinformation and suppressing voters in order to try and subvert what is settled law and public will.
In Burlington, I'm Nick Kokinas.
Thanks, Nick. On a national level, pundits are saying that abortion, the economy were some of the main issues important to voters. As of right now, there are still some national races that are too close to call. But in Vermont, the people made their decision. Here's the results. For the governor's race, Republican Phil Scott won his 3rd term. For the lieutenant governor's seat, Progressive David Zuckerman won a 2nd term. Democrat Peter Welch won the U.S. Senate seat and will replace retiring Patrick Leahy. And Becca Allett made history as the first woman to represent Vermont in the U.S. House of Representatives. There were 2 constitutional amendments on the ballot. Proposition 2 focused on changing the language in the Constitution to fully end slavery, and the measure passed with 89% of the vote. For other states and the same amendment on their ballots. Proposition 5 addressed the right to abortion, which passed with 77% of the vote.
Now that leadership in state and local levels have been decided, the Champlain community hopes to see some changes at home. Prices have gone up and students are struggling. Here's Harlan Kissel with the latest.
In September 2022, inflation jumped by 8.2%, when the desired rate was 2%. In the past months, consumers have seen prices for food, energy, and housing rise sharply. With inflation at a 40-year high, President Biden is insisting he's doing everything in his power to bring prices down.
But make no mistake about it. I understand inflation is a real challenge to American families.
My administration is going to continue everything we can to lower the prices to the American people, and the Congress has to act, and they have been of late. One of the key ways to fight inflation is by lowering the cost of moving goods through the supply chain.
The White House blaming Russia's invasion of Ukraine impacting prices globally.
Because of Putin's war in Ukraine, families across South Carolina and the nation are feeling the pinch.
As well as residual hangover in supply chains and markets from shutdowns from the COVID-19 pandemic. Food at home index, or grocery prices, jumped 13% in September versus the same time a year ago. Core inflation, the cost of goods and services, jumped to its highest level since 1982. The category with the biggest price increase, food and groceries. For college students, this makes having a cheap and reliable source of food very difficult. Even some college staples, like instant noodles, have raised their prices. In 2014, Nissin instant ramen noodles were less than $1 for their single cup noodles, but now a single serving can cost up to $1.89. Some brands are avoiding this. Arizona iced tea remains 99 cents per can, whereas energy drinks like Monster and Bang raised their prices to around $3. Gas prices were the biggest issue for many American households earlier this year, when national averages topped $5 a gallon, but food is taking that starring role. According to economic analysts, there are more contributions to inflation than there are detractors to it right now. A healthy economy experiences a small degree of inflation each year, but COVID-19 lockdowns, stimulus funds, and other factors combine to alter Americans' consumptions of goods and services. This has been Harlan Kissel reporting for Champ Chat.
Thanks, Harlan. After the break, we stay on campus with Eliza Olson, who dives into recent developments on safety and parking.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Amanda's my queen. We lost her so young, but I'm blessed that I got to spend 30 years with her. It was New Year's Eve. Everything was fine. Sunday morning, she couldn't hardly breathe. At the ER, Amanda tested positive for COVID-19. That next morning, I called, and they said, we've moved your wife into ICU COVID. She's not doing very well. Doctor said, we have to put Amanda on a ventilator. They've induced a coma. I'm still calling every 4 hours, 28 days down a row. I was never allowed in the hospital. COVID attacked her lungs, kidneys, liver, swelling in the brain, and she just never woke up. Decision was made on day 34. God promises eternal life, but we're not guaranteed tomorrow. We can argue whether the vaccine got here quick enough or didn't, but it was my duty to get vaccinated. Squeeze them and squeeze them hard. And when you get done, squeeze them one more time.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back to Champ Chat. Thanks for joining. In store, we have Nathan Conti, who's going to fill us in on the growing parking problems over there and how that may affect the student population.
Stowe Mountain Resort is a popular skiing destination frequented by students here at Champlain, but recent parking implementations may have an effect on those interested in a weekend ski trip. All lots will remain free Monday through Thursday during non-holiday periods and after 2 p.m., but those looking to park between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Fridays through Sundays or during holidays will have to pay a $30 parking fee. This news comes as a disappointment for many Champlain students that were used to the free parking previously offered at Stowe. However, the mountain is offering free parking for anyone carpooling with 4 or more people, so students should be able to take advantage of that policy.
Thanks, Nathan. These parking issues seem to be happening all over state, including the Burlington area. Along with this is a recent rise in crime on campus, which has left some students concerned for their safety. With more on that, here's Eliza Olson.
With students and faculty back on campus, the reoccurring issue of parking and the rules and regulations surrounding it are once again in question. As they stand right now, every faculty member and student must obtain a permit every semester, no matter when or where they park. The price to pay for residential students to have their car on campus is steep, with the cheapest permit being $175 a semester. This allows you to only park in half of Lakeside, the parking lot a mile and a half away from the downtown apartments.
I do work 4 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week. My job, that's like probably like 10-15 minutes away if I'm driving, maybe 8 minutes. It's so frustrating that the permits that they allow students to have are nowhere near where we live. And the fact that it costs $175 for me to park at Lakeside is ridiculous. I've tried to like find a way around it by like seeing if I could park at like other spots on campus. They offered this one thing where I had to park at like either South House or North House, and that is not that's not acceptable for me because I get out so late and I am a female and I am young, and there are people out there that will hurt you, and I mean, we've seen it with like someone getting robbed on campus.
This past year, Burlington has had a spike in safety-related issues, including mugging, car break-ins, and gun violence. WCIX says that Burlington's death rate is double last year, with 21 deaths and 25 gun-related incidents. This year has been the most homicides since 1992 in Burlington. Although Champlain itself does not have control over the safety of the city, they do have to make sure that every student and faculty member has safe and reliable transportation.
This summer I got my car broken into. Someone smashed the front passenger window and stole one Carhartt hat, and that was it. But that situation came from me having nowhere else to park, and I had work the next morning, so I had no other option really. If I wanted to get to work on time, I had to have my car close by. I couldn't park my car at Lakeside because the shuttle doesn't run early enough for me to get to work on time.
Nick Anderson, Senior Director of Planning and Operations at Champlain, responded by saying that for parking purposes, students and employees are not considered part of the public, but are instead considered part of our Champlain community. Many students and faculty members are not satisfied and are asking for more to be done.
Thanks, Eliza. In lighter news on campus, the esports facilities have seen massive upgrades as of recently. If you've been around Champlain College's campus recently, you may have noticed there's one club that is particularly popular, and that's esports. That's because online video games have swept the nation in recent years, and Champlain College is no exception.
And while the esports team is incredibly popular and has a lot of funding, some students feel like it's unfair to other clubs. Coming up, we have Eliza Olson with Champlain's rugby president, Peter Miller, to talk more about the club's budget.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire? Only you can prevent wildfires.
I'm an actor in an ad that was given 12 seconds to remind you that if you're high, just don't drive. Because if you feel different, you drive different. It's illegal to drive high everywhere anyway.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. I'm Eliza Olson, and I'm here with Peter Miller. Hi, Peter.
Hey, how you doing?
As we heard before the break, the esports arena was an incredibly expensive endeavor. Some have suggested that funds should be spread more evenly between the clubs. A source from the SGA, the Student Government Association, said that every club or organization that receives SGA funding has had their budget cut this year. How do you think that your team, the rugby team, could help from more funding?
Well, you know, I was a treasurer last year, so I do believe our budget got cut pretty much in half, and it's been pretty tough to make ends meet with everything that we have to pay for. So we requested a lot more money than we ended up getting in the end.
Why is it so important that we keep a variety of clubs here at Champlain and keep the rugby club alive?
Well, I mean, for me, the only reason I came to Champlain in the end was because they did have a rugby team. That was pretty important for me because I've always been an athletic guy, and I wanted to continue my rugby, career, I guess. The esports is great. It's great that people have that to do, but there's a lot of other interests at Champlain, and if you can't keep those clubs going with the money, then you'll lose a lot of students.
Yeah, that's exactly. There's other people out there who are interested in different things. How do you think that these decisions about the budget reflect the priorities that Champlain has, and how do you think it's going to impact the community at Champlain in general?
Well, I think it's pretty clear how Champlain views the esports club compared to the other clubs. Making them a D1 sport or whatever it happened to be, I think that's great. We need that, but also having money for other clubs is super important because it doesn't make Champlain feel like it's really favoring one like it is now.
Yeah. Thank you for talking, Peter. I wish you luck.
Thank you.
In other news, I was able to catch up with Abby BK yesterday as she shared some of her musical talent. So let's see that now. Hi, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Abby, for being here. Hi, Abby.
Hello.
Hi. So I was at the inauguration, and I saw you perform with your band. Can you tell me about your band and how that was?
Yeah, so it was obviously like an honor to perform at the inauguration. It was so much fun. I have a bassist, Jack Ugans, who's also a third year here at Champlain, and then my drummer, Phil. He's a local musician, and he's been drumming for a while.
Nice, and you sounded great.
Thank you.
So when did you first start get into playing guitar, and did songwriting kind of come hand in hand with that, or was it two different skills in whole?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I actually picked up guitar myself. I'm self-taught, and I started writing songs when I was really little, and I would always hear the instruments in my head, but I didn't know how to play any instruments. So I ended up getting a guitar because my dad would play a little bit, and so I just started fiddling around, once again self-taught, but I definitely didn't start out writing songs on guitar, but I always heard like sort of instruments in my head, so just with time it just kind of all came together, thankfully.
And have you released any of your own music?
I have. So I have a few projects on all listening platforms. So you can find them on the big ones like Spotify and YouTube. And I'm currently about to release an album, which is my biggest one yet, with 12 songs called Crossroads, which should be coming out hopefully by the end of this week.
The end of this, that's so exciting. I'm so
Thank you.
excited. I will definitely be listening. And we're going to have you play a performance for us. Can you tell us about the song you're going to sing?
Yeah, so I'm going to play, it's original, obviously, and it's called Reconcile. It's the second song on the album that I'm releasing, and I just released it as a single as well. So it's pretty fun. The recorded version has, it starts out acoustic the way that I'm going to play it, and then the bass and the drums come in, and it's a bit more rock. But obviously, it's just me today, so it's going to be the acoustic version. So it's called Reconcile.
All right, I'm excited to hear. Let's go to that.
How does it feel to know you lost someone you shouldn't have let go? How does it feel to know you crossed someone who tried to know your soul? How will you reconcile? How will you How does it feel to find no one else waiting in your life? How does it feel knowing I was kind and knowing that you paid me no How will you tell me that you didn't mean it? How will you tell me that now you can feel it? How will you show me if I've never seen it? How will you tell me and make me believe it?
Thank you so much, Abby. That was an amazing performance. Now let's go back to the studio with Audrey and Unier.
Thank you so much for that, Abby. It's really cool seeing how talented people at Champlain are.
I agree. We've really got a really strong community here.
Thanks for sticking around and joining us for this year's Champ Chat. Happy holidays and safe travels.
See you next year, you crazy Beavers.